Celestial Rising, Divine Denoon and Grand Night to the beautiful deity watching this video. It's a divine reflection, divine messenger, and we are back with another message and understand. Before we can get into all this, make sure you like, comment if you choose to. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe for more divine messages. And I appreciate all the people who are coming to the family, subscribing. Thank y'all for tuning in to more videos. And thank y'all for liking and sharing and reposting as well. Thank you for staying tuned to more and more videos. And I really appreciate y'all. So today we got 8 ways to face fear and learn from it, because fear is honestly our best teacher. On top of that, fear does not exist. When I mean fear does not exist, meaning that for one, fear is a programming that you are fearful of. But imagine being an observer, observing the fearing programming that you are fearful of not knowing. You are the observer. You are the microcosm of the Almighty Observer, and you're fearing the observation that you are observing and the illusion that you are fearful of, not knowing that the fear that you are fearful of is what you should be embracing as a studious teacher, observing the teachings of what fear is helping you learn from. Let's get into it. Growing beyond the illusion of fear. Fear is a marker for standing on the edge of what you're comfortable with. Facing fear will expand your potential realities. Understand that the key point for this, potential realities, because for one, if you're too busy living in fear, then the potential that you have in these realities is non-existent, because for one, you're still stuck on the edge of what could be. So it's like you're standing, so like you're walking on a journey. You got this edge right here. On the other side is basically your success, but you're standing on the edge like, that's just too deep down. I'm scared what's gonna happen. And the thing is too, what the Almighty's gonna do, the Almighty's gonna push you off of that cliff so that you can embrace what you're gonna stand on top of, which is a new level for the fears that you aren't fearful anymore, because you learned from the choices that you didn't make. But since the universe chose for you, now you have no choice but to embrace that potential reality that you always thought was already the potential reality that you are living in, because potentially you have more potential in yourself when you are embracing your fears. But since you're running back from them, you are not able to grow beyond the illusion. Once you're growing beyond the illusion, you are not understanding that for one, you are standing on potential that you are not fearful of anymore, because for one, you're not comfortable with your fears because you already faced them. Once you face them, you'll be able to expand the realities that exist beyond the quantum thinking. So for example, fear is such a strong illusion that for one, and the thing is too, illusion, meaning that it does not exist. For it to exist, you have to put a feeling or a thought behind what you don't know yet. But if you spiritually know everything, how can you fear anything when it's your reflection? That's basically like you looking at a Dalmatian and being like, yo, I'm scared of Dalmatian. Like, I don't know what's gonna do to me, but I'm scared of it because it could bite me, or it could jump on me, it could attack me. But it's like, you're fearing this animal that looks just like you. The only difference is you're just scared of the illusion that it hasn't even done to you yet. So you think that this Dalmatian is gonna bite you, but when you walk up to it, it wants to jump on you and lick you and play games with you, play fetch. But you think that's going to bite you because of the illusion that you have placed within your mind. Because you're not too busy standing on what you believe in, because you're not facing what you don't know, because your mind isn't expanded willingly, because you're too busy living in this reality that's falsely eluded by what you fear. That's how strong fear is. Fear is so bad, it won't even have you facing the girl that you've always been dreaming about. That's how crazy that is. So you see a girl that you're into, but you're scared to talk to her because you don't know what she's going to say to you. And so you create these scenarios that you have no potential in now. Fear is your favorite studious teacher. Understand that. I already told you that too. Fear is your favorite studious teacher. For one, I say favorite because without this programming, you wouldn't be able to teach yourself what you always knew as a student to your own teachings. Fear reveals areas that you didn't know needed to grow up. Embracing it helps you learn who you are better. It reveals the areas that you didn't know needed to grow up. Understand too. So like accountability. People fear telling the truth to people who are lying in their own truth. If you are telling the truth every single day, accountability is something that you won't be afraid of, because if you're not cheating, people are afraid of getting caught due to cheating because they know that they've been cheating since day one. So when they do get caught, their accountability's out the door because they will start pointing the finger at what the other person wasn't doing to sustain their happiness. So when they're about to get caught, they fear and they don't want to get caught up, obviously, because it makes their image or their character look bad. So when they get caught up in their potential reality that they were existing in before they actually got caught cheating on you, now they're fearing what's going to happen when they get caught lying and you catch them lying with no proof involved. So you catch somebody lying and they don't even have any physical proof, but you know they're lying and you know that they know they're lying, that's when they'll start fearing what they should have told you the whole entire time, and to where you can't trust them anymore. So you can't trust them, they'll put the blame on you to where you didn't do something to sustain how happy they should have been with you. So now all of a sudden it's all your fault because their accountability is out the door because they're running away from what they fear and is lying to you the whole entire time and wasting your time, because now they're going to go right back into what they can't face, and that's being alone. Many people's problem in this world is that they're so afraid to be alone that they'll lie to have somebody right next to them, because they can't fulfill themselves in a circle that's smaller than a circle that they are pretending to exist in, that they comfortably love lying in. So that's the thing. It reveals areas that you didn't know needed to grow up. Especially conversation. People feel like they have anxiety, so they can't go out and do this in public, or too many people are staring at them where they can't have conversations. For one, anxiety does not exist either because it's all a program. It's an illusion. On top of that, you need to grow the fuck up and communicate. Use your words. So when somebody's looking at you, they're not looking at you just for certain weird indications. For one, it's your mind playing tricks on you. On top of that, you're looking at yourself through someone else. Two, you have to understand as well, when you go out in public, you are going to have to communicate eventually. So when you're checking out things at the grocery store or whatever, a lot of times to the cashier or whatever, you're going to have to talk to the person because a lot of times that's their job, for one. Two, they're probably friendly. Three, they want to actually genuinely know what you ordered and how your day is going, and they decide to talk to you like that. But you can't sit here and just, fine. Yeah, my day's good, thank you. Like, you can't sit there and talk like a little bitch. You got to be able to put some bass in your voice. You got to be able to hold your nuts and tell yourself, like, hey, hi. For one, you should be the one to initiate conversation anyways, because for one, you don't fear speaking out because your mind is already expanded in many realities. So you're so conformed in your stance within fear, because you don't fear nothing. When you don't fear nothing, you have all the confidence in the world. Meaning that if someone rejected you like a conversation, you wouldn't fear that because you already know. You already seen the reality play out. So if you say, hey, how you doing? And they don't say nothing to you, okay, cool, so be it. Let's move on. Because you don't care about what's supposed to happen. So if you say, hey, what's up? And then you get this anxiety of, oh, they didn't speak to me. I feel so awkward. Don't feel awkward. Why? Okay, they didn't speak to you. That's not your fault. You said the initial, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? They ain't say nothing back. That's why their day is shitty, because look at their attitude. That's not your fault. Get your groceries, go back home. Just move on. Life goes on. There's no need to sit here and dwell on what you should have been doing, which is growing up. When you grow up, you have no choice but to speak up for yourself when it's needed to be. But it embraces you and helps you learn who you are better. Because every time you're embracing what you're fearing, is helping you become a better man or woman, because you don't fear anything anymore, because you're developing more confidence within what you're becoming better at, and that's just literally developing your own character. You'll be more courageous with actions. Having courage helps you leap forward regardless of what you fear. This builds discipline and strength to keep going. Literally, so understand that too. You'll be more, like I just stated earlier too with that grocery example, courageous with actions. And that means anything. So, for example, having the courage helps you leap forward regardless of what you fear. So, for example, to my young men out there, I'm pretty sure as a woman, and even to my women as well, especially my women out there, because women are going to be shot no matter what. That's a default program. Nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times, women, you got to understand too, a lot of men do not know telekinesis or telepathy. So because of that, you cannot get mad the man that did not know that you were thinking about him, or that you seen him wanting to think about you as you were thinking about him when you were seeing him wherever y'all were outside of your household or on the internet. You can't get mad because he didn't know the signs that you were subliminally hidden or hiding from him. So because of that, you have to be able to have courage to help you leap forward into the man or the woman that you want, especially my men out there. So you cannot be afraid of rejection. It even comes with job opportunities, even teammates, or even moving to a different city. Meaning that you can't sit there and be in your household. When you go into a new community or a new city, new town, new state, you cannot be fearful of the people that you don't know. Obviously, nobody knows you and you don't know them. So you have to be able to do what? Take a leap forward That means that stepping out of your household, go to the park, go to an event, go to a social event, whatever the case may be. Go out to your local restaurants, go out to a game event, convention, go out to a concert, go out to a comedy club. Just go do something depending on what age you are. But even if you're in school, okay, so go to an event, so go to a basketball game, a volleyball game, soccer game, football game, go to a band concert, like whatever it is, go to just something that's extracurricular so you can get yourself out of your own box, out of your own head, because you're stuck in your own head because you don't have that courage to want to help yourself leap forward. It's one thing to have courage, but if you're not courageous into developing more courage, then you won't leap forward into helping yourself, because you have to be able to do what helps you. This is all about you anyways. So if you're not able to embrace that fear, then you're not going to, regardless of what you're going to do, you won't leap forward. On top of that, you won't have discipline to be mentally strong, to keep on going, to being courageous. So even comes with your boss. You want a raise or something, or you want a different position. You have to be able to talk to your boss by growing up and embracing what you learned about yourself, which is communication, being disciplined, because you know what you want. You got to stand, you got to be solid in your knowing, not in belief, but in your knowing of what you believe in. So you know that you've been working very hard every single day for years to come, and even years before you even got hired on this job. So because you're working so very hard with the pay that you're not happy with, you need to do what? Have courage to leap forward and talk to your boss and let them know, like, hey, I deserve this raise. Like, you know, this and that is going to communicate about something. Have a meeting with that person. Don't out them out in front of everybody with your business, but go behind closed doors, communicate that with this person, and then you're doing what you're not fearful of anymore, because now you became strong-minded into being disciplined on what you say you're going to do and the potential reality that you already thought of. You understand too, all the realities that you're fearing, it already existed. You already conquered those realities basically. But in the moment right now, you're too busy stuck on that edge. You're looking at the other side of the fence and you're like, I should talk to my boss. But when you overthink, now you're creating more overthinking patterns that haven't even been created just yet in this moment. They've been created in a different scenario, in a quantum way of thinking. But in this reality right now, in this 3D simulation, you have to stay to what you know, which is the current moment right now. You can't focus on the quantum individuality in the universe of unison and different divine oneness in a different multiverse that you're not really physically in the moment right now. You're physically in there, but right now you can only exist in this dimension singularly. Number 4, finding freedom by facing fear. Because for one, you won't know that you're enslaved till you find freedom in your enslavement. You won't know that you're enslaved till you find freedom in your enslavement. You won't know that you're enslaved till you find freedom in your enslavement. So if you're still enslaved even though you're free, are you really enslaved? Were you ever really enslaved? Or will you always be enslaved even though you claim that you're free from your own enslavement? What is being enslaved? An enslavement. Running away from fear keeps you fearful. Greeting it gives you confidence while being free. Understand that. Every time you run away, from fear, it keeps you, every time you run away from fear, it'll keep you running into more fearing processes that you still haven't processed from the past. I was trying to find a way to correlate that together. When every time you're running from something, you're literally running from your past self. And then in the future, you will do the exact same thing. So in the future, you'll keep running from your past. And currently, you'll be stuck at what you keep running from. And that's literally just your future self that you haven't came to terms with from the past. You haven't healed that. Excuse me. You haven't healed that because you're too afraid of greeting it. You're running from something that you're afraid of, but yet you haven't actually looked into the mirror and said, you know what, fear? Who are you? What is your name? Why am I scared of you? Like, you have to actually sit with fear and be like, why do I fear you? You have to have a conversation with fear. Because then when you do that, fear will, and it's illusion. Fear is an illusion once again, because fear subconsciously will communicate to you, but consciously, you are the reflection of the observation of what fear is, because fear can't even fear itself. If you ask fear, what do you fear? Spiritually, fear would never even answer that question for you, because it can't fear itself when fear is itself not knowing what fearful actually is to itself. It's a concept that it doesn't know it's aware of spiritually, but physically, socially, Fear knows what it's fearful of, and that it's itself. So fear is basically running from itself, and you're just a product of what you're accustomed to being introduced to. So because of that, greeting it gives you confidence while being free. For example, when you're confident in not being fearful anymore, you're not running from the things that you don't know aren't actually fearful anymore because you face them already. So even when it comes to like getting a new haircut, for example, if you want to cut all your hair off and go bald, that's a fear that most people are afraid of doing. So even like the people who have their hairlines all back here, people are afraid of just going bald because they don't want to let go of the hair that they have been introduced to at a young age. But the thing is though, when you're confident and you're free, you're being free, by the way. When you're being free, nobody can tell you how you look without your hair because for one, you never had hair to begin with. You were always bald. People don't understand that. We live in a construct of your mindset. Your mind believes that you have hairs on your head, but realistically, all you had was antennas that were telling you, or giving you signals from a higher plane that you did not know you came from. But the whole entire time, though, you got to understand that you're confident when you start to embrace going bald. Because when you go bald, there'll be some women or men out there who are actually attracted and mesmerized by how you look when you don't have hair. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised when you start embracing how you always look, because now you're learning who you are better. Because you're embracing the fear that you didn't know was revealing areas about yourself. So embrace that. Stop running from yourself. You can't keep running from yourself because no matter what, you can wait 10 years, you can run for 10 years, but once the 10-year mark hits, you're going to run right into that wall. It's going to say on the wall, hey, it's me again. How are you? You. Why are you running from me when I am you? Running from you. As me. Pretending to be you. You can't keep running from yourself. Just do it. Embrace what you think you are and what you are not. Because what you are is what you are not. Heightened intuition, intuitive feeling, intuitive gut, intuitive perception of your prospections. Accepting fear sharpens your intuition so you can trust your inner reflection. Understand that. Accepting fear. Because for one, this video's not me telling you like you're soft if you fear this or that. No. Because for one, some people fear getting fired from that job. That's why you accept it. Accept that it may happen. If you're thinking about it, if you have that feeling or that intuitive gut that's heightened already, embrace it and be ready for something else. Be ready for change to come always. You can't stay there forever because you weren't embracing or you weren't growing up into who you were always becoming as your student's teacher. You couldn't learn in that environment because you were too fearful of what could happen if you weren't there anymore. But now that you're not there anymore, the universe is basically telling you, boop, go off the ledge, jump down, you'll see what you'll become when you start embracing that shadow side of yourself that you haven't seen before. All you're doing is falling into a brighter version of your purity. Just that simple. And it sharpens your intuition so you can trust your inner reflection. Inner reflection meaning that, for one, like I basically explained, so it'll sharpen your intuitive feelings so much that you have to trust the reflection that the inner guide is telling you to go into, which is exactly why it leads us into unlocking hidden strength. Because for one, you sharpen your intuition so much that no matter what, you trust the guidance that you haven't been guided by physically, only spiritually, but you have to be in tune with your inner side of the reflection that you haven't seen before. But when you're too stuck in the physical mindset subconsciously, you won't be able to hear your inner reflection because you're not focused on the reflection that's enlightening your enlightenment. Unlocking hidden strength. Being fearful hides how strong you've always been. Understand that. Being fearful hides how strong you've always been. Never forget that. Because the thing is, you're so fearful that if you don't make the basketball team, people make fun of you. Or if you don't make any sports team in your school, people make fun of you. No. You always been strong to make that team. If you didn't make that team, that's a you problem. I'm not saying that you're bad at the sport. I'm not saying that you suck. But you were so bad to the point to where that's how great you became. They told you that you weren't going to make that team because you weren't good enough to be on the team. Great. How can you be greater than the whole entire team when you're not on that team? To the point where the coach says, you know what? You not coming to tryouts for these 2 years, now your junior year, the coach sees how strong you always been because that freshman year you got cut from that team. But now you waited 2 years to grow up and you started trusting yourself and embracing who you were with your courageous actions. So now you became courageous into embracing the courage you had within your discipline and your willpower to be strong-minded. You have now understood that the fear that you had as a freshman It was hiding how strong you are as a junior or even a senior. And this is seeing how it shows you how strong you already are. And seeing it shows how strong you already are by unlocking your hidden potential through your strength, through your strengthening mindset. Because how strong you already are is what you always been. You always been that strong. But they weren't awake to what you always knew about yourself because they didn't give you a chance. So you gave yourself that chance. You didn't need their approval. They only approved of you when you approved of you. They only approved of you when you approved of you. So now you approve of you. Their approval of you is only approved by your approval. That you've been approved through self, as you always been, by your inner reflection, because you accepted the fear that sharpened your intuitive gut feeling that you always knew about yourself. You weren't trash, you just had trash moments, but you worked on them, and you became stronger, like you already are, and like you always been. 7, growing under divine observation. All the challenges with fear in them are preparing you for a journey of faith, acceptance, purpose, and wisdom. Understand that too. I'll put a star by that. When you're growing under divine observation, like I stated earlier, all reality is just a higher observation of divinity. Everything in this 3D simulation does not exist. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep saying that. And people are not able to really understand that. On the time behind me, I mean, besides me mentioning it right now, you think that it's 5:25 in the AM, but realistically, time does not exist to itself. So what time is it really? You think that it's 5:25 AM, but realistically, it could be 12 something in a whole different plane of existence. It could be 1, it could be 7, it could be 12, it could be 11, it could be 15. It doesn't matter, because time does not know what time it is to itself. It can't time itself. That's how slow and fast time is in the now. So in the now, time does not know it's living nor dead. It's just experiencing what it's observing in a social construct that we collectively came together to think that reality was going to define our time limit into being through our expectancy of our life. When you understand that, you are observing all the challenges that you are going to face, that you already have faced because you already conquered them. You are now understanding that these challenges with fear in them are preparing you for a journey for you to have more faith in yourself, acceptance of what you can't control, because you will always be fearful of something new. Embrace that by having faith in yourself. Once you do that, you will always know that your purpose will never keep you in fear, because you know where you're going. Because of that, you have so much purpose, and once you accept by having faith, you have now embraced more wisdom. When you have more wisdom, there's nothing to fear anymore, because you know that you're so wise that fear can't be as wise as you, because why is fear calling itself fear or fearful or fearing? How can you be all 3 of these titles not knowing what you're entitled to as the title that's entitled to itself? So this is preparing you for a journey that you have faith in through a divine observation. Once you have faith in all of this, then fear won't be a challenge for you anymore. Because fear is basically a challenge that you have to basically hug on and say, you're basically like my number one enemy. You're like my worst defender. I hate when you guard me at home and away. Because every time I have to go up against you, you give me a hard time. You need that. You need somebody to lock you up on defense so that you can work on your offense. You need somebody to... you need to be able to have somebody who's cooking you on offense so you can work on your defense. I was looking for a correlation with that too. But you need to have somebody who's cooking you on offense so you can work on your defense. Fear is basically that. Fear is that opponent that you play against. They always worried about you. They always trying to guard you, always trying to double team you. They're always trying to come for you in Call of Duty, Fortnite, Roblox, 2K, Madden, UFC, doesn't matter. You always see their gamer tag or their PSN name or their Xbox Live name. You always see them in real life. They're always giving you a hard time. Embrace that, because they're helping you be a better you that you didn't know was within you the whole entire time. Peace is found when you hug fear. Understand that. When you hug fear, that's how you find peace. You have to be able to hug what you're fearful of. Learning your fears gives peace to you by removing your worries and telling you that you always could jump over the illusion of fear. Learning your fears, like I told you, like I said earlier, the example. Fear, why do I fear you when I don't know what I'm fearing about you? Ask fear that question. Excuse me. So fearful. I'm so fearful of what I don't know. I don't know why I'm fearful of you. Can you explain that to me? And fearful would just be like, for one, you're just fearful of what you can't comprehend yet. And that's just literally your incomprehensible comprehension of yourself. So you're fearful of yourself. So why are you fearing of me when I am a reflection of you, being me? When you learn that, you find more peace. Because no matter what you fear death. How can you fear an illusion that you're observing? You fear, and that's the number one indicator right there. You fear overdosing. You fear getting of old age. How can you get older when you were always young? Actually, you're not even young or old. You're in the observation of the now. You cannot age. Physically, you can age or deteriorate or whatever the case may be. But spiritually, you are young forever. You are transparency. So for one, you wouldn't even understand what young or old looks like in the ether or the quantum or a serious star system of dominions of domesticated consciousness put together, combined into one unified unison of unities. There is no such thing as words or illusions, because you are the illusion of illusions, creating other illusions to elude your illusion in a higher illusion of observations. So when you understand that, there is no worrying of fear, because you are always at peace with fear. You fear what you don't know. You fear the afterlife. How? When you're already in it. You're already in the afterlife right now. So why are you fearful of it when you're there right now, observing yourself in this past life? So you're basically observing your death, but you call it living. You are observing your death and you're calling this life. Make it make sense. Therefore, when you remove your worries and you tell yourself that you can always jump over the illusion of fear, you basically overcame the illusion of fear. Because why? You are telling yourself that I could always do what I thought I could not do. Because for what? You are understanding that you are preparing yourself for the journey of faith, acceptance, purpose, and wisdom. You have to be so wise in your purpose that you accept whatever happens, because you can't control whatever happens in divine timing and the illusion. That's exactly why you have faith in what you can't see, besides what you're seeing. And that's literally a divine observation. That's it for this teaching. I really appreciate y'all for tuning in to these videos, and I really enjoy doing them. So I do want to say thank y'all for, liking, subscribing. Thank y'all for sharing as well. Thank y'all for staying tuned and learning something new today to help benefit you in the fearful experiment that you are experienced in. I love y'all so much. It's your boy Divine Messenger. It's your Divine Reflection, Divine Messenger, and I'm gone.